Hi everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel where I discuss being autistic from the point of being autistic. I need to get a better tagline, don't I? I'm gonna work on that. Well, today we're going to discuss the correlations of being LGBT and autistic because we're in Pride Month, June. So I figured what better time to wait to discuss this. And we have a little helper here. He wants to be a part of the video. Keeps rubbing on my leggies. So, let's see if he'll get comfortable here. He might leave. Autistic people have more rates in being LGBT than the general population. It used to be claimed that autistics had low sex drive and no desire for sexuality, which, of course, we now know, of course, that that's wrong. A survey found that 7 to 8% of asexual people had an autistic diagnosis. Studies also show autistic women are more likely to be LGBT than autistic men. Autistic women are 3 to 4 times likely to be bi than non-autistic females, which I found super interesting because if you do not know, with my attire, I identify as bisexual and queer. A study with 492 autistic youths concluded that autistic youths are 7 times more likely to have gender variance than non-autistics. There's a study that had 600,000 adults, and it concluded that adults who were trans or gender diverse were 3 to 6 times more likely to be autistic than a cisgender individual. There's also another study that shows genderqueer is more likely to be autistic than any other group with gender dysphoria. And due to masking, trans and non-binary are due to have excess stress, obviously, because masking in itself is extremely stressful. But on top of that, dealing with the issues of the constant discourse with being trans and non-binary causes more stress. So you put those two together, of course, they are more likely to have worse mental health than anybody else. And I think all of this, okay, I know I kind of ran through all that pretty fast. I wanted to make sure I got a lot of studies and percentages and rates to be able to discuss about this because it's pretty significant. And with everything that's currently happening in our country, it's very important to recognize that trans issues are autistic issues. So if you're autistic and you're not standing with the LGBT, especially the trans that's going on right now, you need to be re-evaluating your stances, because there is a heavy correlation between trans and non-gender conforming and autistics. On top of it all, we're just as in danger just being autistic along with all of these laws, because unfortunately lawmakers are also recognizing that there is a high correlation with autistics and trans and gender nonconforming. So if you're not fighting for LGBT and humanity right now, I highly suggest you take a good hard look at the situation at hand, because it's upsetting enough if you weren't already for it, but then knowing that there is a huge correlation with autism and trans and gender nonconforming, those issues are our issues. So even if you are autistic and you don't identify in LGBT, it's still kind of your issues, because there has been crossover, and because these lawmakers have been recognizing the correlation, there has been things about autistics being written into these laws, and that's scary. I know I'm extremely worried for all my friends that are trans and non-gender conforming. I'm worried for myself as an autistic woman who wants to have a family, and it's all these laws have been pinpointing trans, but when is it going to get the ball rolling to assume that autistics in general are a connection, or anybody in the LGBT umbrella gets affected? It's a scary time right now, and it needs to be talked about, and the correlation between our communities needs to be talked about more as well. The discussion needs to be brought up. I am worried for not only myself, but I am somebody that takes care of children for a living. I have taken care of children for a decade, and I know that the likelihood of my kids that I have taken care for are in the LGBT are going to be coming out as LGBT, I'm sure. And I worry for their future. Because I don't have kids of my own. Every kid that's been in my care has been my child. And I don't forget a single child that I've had in my care. And that's a lot. I have a lot of kids in my care within 10 years, you know. But they deserve to love who they love and to authentically be who they are. So is this a bit of my plea to be like, hey, we need to get our you know what together a little bit, you know, recognize that this is more than like one single group's issue. This is just a human issue. This is people's futures issues. Yeah, I'm ending this kind of on a bummer note, but it's Pride Month, and shouldn't we just be celebrating? We should be, but unfortunately, there are people in this country that are making us more worried than we have probably been in our lives. And if you're an older LGBT person, then unfortunately this might be issues that are coming back into your life. And that's a problem. We deserve to be able to STEM fully as autistic people, but we're also deserve to love who we love and be completely authentically who we are. So whether that be that you are trans and autistic, you deserve to both STEM and authentically be the gender that you are. So with that, remember, try and enjoy yourself for Pride Month, but also be safe. Be aware of your surroundings if you're going to Pride, because unfortunately not everybody is going to want you to be here, and we all deserve to be here. So it's something to think about. Well, next time maybe I won't be such a bummer, but this is a very serious issue at hand, but also something that needs to be talked about more. All right, I'll see you next time. Happy Pride, everybody.